palm, has the highest melting point of any natural wax at 82 to 86 degrees Celsius. It is extraordinarily hard and produces a high-gloss finish, which is why it is used in premium car waxes and floor polishes. As a mechanical lubricant, Carnauba works but is more expensive than paraffin and harder to apply due to its high melting point. For the record, professional furniture makers, piano tuners, gunsmiths, machinists, and antique restorers all use wax as their primary lubricant. These are professionals whose livelihoods depend on their tools and their clients' possessions functioning perfectly. They do not use WD-40. They use wax, because they understand the physics. Which squeak have you been respraying for years? Tell me in the comments. End of section. Next section begins now. Every scratch on your car windshield, every scuff on your glass coffee table, every mark on your bathroom mirror, every hairline on your phone screen protector. The glass repair industry tells you this damage is permanent. Replace the glass, get a new windshield, buy a new table. $300 to $800 to replace a car windshield installed. $150 to $500 for a glass coffee table replacement. They are lying. A $1 paste erases scratches from glass surfaces as if they never existed. The material is cerium oxide. It is a rare earth compound used by professional glass polishers, telescope lens manufacturers, optical fiber producers, and semiconductor fabrication plants worldwide. And it costs $1 per job when you buy the powder yourself instead of paying a professional. Here is the physics. Glass is silicon dioxide, chemical formula SiO2. It is one of the hardest common materials, rated 5.5 to 7 on the Mohs hardness scale, depending on its specific composition and heat treatment. A scratch in glass is not actually a removal of material. It is a micro groove where material has been displaced but not removed. The displaced glass creates a ridge on either side of the groove, similar to a plow creating furrows in soil. These ridges catch light at different angles than the flat glass surface, creating the visible bright line that you see as a scratch. Cerium oxide, chemical formula CEO2, has a Mohs hardness of approximately 6. This places it in a unique and critically important position on the hardness spectrum. It is hard enough to abrade the glass surface at a microscopic level, capable of physically reshaping the ridges around a scratch. But it is soft enough that it does not create new scratches in the process. If you used aluminum oxide, which has a Mohs hardness of 9, you would successfully remove the original scratch, while simultaneously creating thousands of new microscopic scratches across the entire surface. Cerium oxide threads the needle perfectly between hard enough to work and soft enough not to damage. When cerium oxide is combined with water to form a slurry and applied to glass with friction, two simultaneous processes occur. This dual action is what makes cerium oxide unique among polishing compounds. The first process is mechanical. The cerium oxide particles, typically 1 to 3 microns in diameter, physically abrade the glass surface at the microscopic level. They grind down the ridges on either side of the scratch, redistributing the displaced glass material back into the groove. This is similar to sanding wood, but at a scale 50 to 100 times finer than any sandpaper you can buy. The second process is chemical, and this is the part that most people do not know about. Cerium oxide is not just an abrasive, it is a chemical mechanical polishing agent, known in the semiconductor industry as CMP. At the friction interface, where the cerium oxide particle presses against the glass surface under your applied pressure, the cerium oxide forms temporary chemical bonds with the silicon dioxide surface atoms. These bonds create a thin layer of cerium-silicon-oxygen compound at the contact point. This intermediate compound is softer than either the cerium oxide or the glass individually. It is essentially a chemically softened version of the glass surface layer. This softened layer is then easily removed by the mechanical abrasion of the next cerium oxide particle that passes over it. The combined effect is that cerium oxide removes material from the glass surface approximately 5 to 10 times faster than its mechanical hardness alone would predict. Pure mechanical abrasion at Mohs 6 against Mohs 6 would barely work. The chemical interaction makes it work efficiently. This chemical-mechanical polishing process is the same technology that Intel, Samsung, and TSMC use, to create the atomically flat surfaces required for semiconductor chip fabrication. In those fabs, cerium oxide slurry is used to polish silicon wafers to surface roughness measurements of less than 0.5 nanometers, smoother than 5 atoms. If the process can achieve atomic-level smoothness on silicon wafers, it can certainly fix a scratch on your coffee table. Here is the step-by-step procedure. Purchase cerium oxide powder. A 100-gram bag costs $5 to $8 online. That single bag contains enough material for 50 to 100 glass polishing jobs. Mix cerium oxide powder with water to form a thick paste, roughly the consistency of thick toothpaste. You want just enough water to create a smooth, workable paste. Too much water and the abrasive particles are too diluted. Too little and the paste is difficult to apply evenly. Clean the glass surface thoroughly. Remove all dust, grime, and fingerprints. Any particulate contamination on the surface during polishing can cause new scratches. Apply the paste to the scratched area, using a felt polishing pad, a piece of microfiber cloth, or in a pinch, the soft tip of your finger. Rub the paste into the scratch in tight circular motions with moderate pressure. Do not use more pressure than you would use to scrub a stubborn stain from a countertop. Excessive pressure is not necessary because the chemical component of the process does most of the work. Continue polishing for 2 to 5 minutes for shallow scratches. Monitor your progress by wiping the paste away every minute and examining the scratch under light. For deeper scratches that catch your fingernail when you run it across them, extended polishing time of 10 to 15 minutes may be necessary. Very deep scratches, which you can feel as a distinct groove with your fingertip, may require multiple sessions with intermediate cleaning. Wipe the paste away completely with a clean, damp microfiber cloth. Examine the surface under multiple light angles. If residual scratching is visible, apply fresh paste and repeat. For larger areas or deeper scratches, a rotary polishing tool dramatically reduces effort and time. A variable speed drill with a felt polishing wheel attachment works perfectly. Use the lowest speed setting, approximately 600 to 800 RPM. Higher speeds generate excessive heat, which can cause thermal shock cracking in glass. Apply the cerium oxide paste to the felt wheel, not to the glass, and work in overlapping circular patterns. Now let me explain the economics. A 100-gram bag of cerium oxide powder costs $5 to $8 online from any chemical supply retailer. That is enough for 50 to 100 glass polishing jobs, depending on how large an area you are polishing and how deep the scratches are. The per-job cost is under $0 to $10. Car dealers charge $200 to $500 for windshield scratch removal. They apply cerium oxide with a rotary polisher. The procedure takes 30 minutes. The total material cost to the dealership is approximately $0.50 per windshield. The cerium oxide powder, a few drops of water, and a felt polishing pad. Everything else is labor and markup. Auto glass shops charge $150 to $300 for the same service. Mobile glass repair services charge $100 to $200. All of them are using the same $0.50 of cerium oxide that you can buy for yourself. The glass repair industry in the United States generates approximately $4.7 billion in annual revenue. A significant portion of that revenue comes from glass replacements that could have been glass repairs. A windshield with surface scratches from sand, debris, or wiper wear does not need to be replaced. It needs 30 minutes of cerium oxide polishing. But you cannot build a growing business on a product that costs $0 to $10 per use. The business model of the glass repair industry requires you to believe that glass scratch damage is irreversible, that the only solution is replacement, that $300 to $800 is a reasonable price for new glass when $0 to $10 of powder and 5 minutes of effort is all you actually need. Cerium oxide is not a secret compound hidden in some classified military vault. It is listed in every materials science textbook. It is commercially available from thousands of retailers. It has been used in optical polishing since the 1940s. The Hubble Space Telescope's primary mirror was polished using cerium oxide. Every quality binocular, camera lens, and scientific instrument has been finished with cerium oxide. Yet cerium oxide has zero marketing budget and near zero shelf presence at your local hardware store, auto parts store, or home improvement center. You cannot buy it at Walmart. You cannot buy it at Home Depot. You cannot buy it at AutoZone. You can buy it on Amazon, sure, but you have to know to search for it, and the glass industry is not going to tell you. Beyond basic scratch removal, cerium oxide has additional applications for glass treatment. Cerium oxide can restore clarity to glass that has become hazy from water mineral deposits, known as water spots or hard water staining. The polishing action removes the thin layer of calcium carbonate and silica deposits that cause the milky appearance. Cerium oxide can also remove fine scratches from acrylic and polycarbonate plastics, including aquariums, motorcycle windscreens, and aircraft windows. The chemical interaction with polycarbonate is different from glass, but the mechanical polishing action works identically. For the DIY enthusiast, cerium oxide can be used to polish gemstones, restore antique glassware, clean and polish crystal, refurbish old microscope lenses, and repair scratched watch crystals. A single $5 bag of powder handles all of these applications. The physics does not care what the dealership told you. Cerium oxide plus 5 minutes equals invisible. The scratch was never permanent. The dealer's price was. The semiconductor industry's relationship with cerium oxide reveals the true scale of this material's capabilities. Every computer chip manufactured since the 1990s has been polished using cerium oxide slurry through a process called chemical mechanical planarization, or CMP. The global CMP slurry market is worth approximately $2 billion per year. Intel alone consumes over 100 million liters of CMP slurry annually. In semiconductor CMP, the goal is to create a surface that is atomically flat, with roughness measured in angstroms, which are tenths of nanometers. The cerium oxide particles used in semiconductor CMP are engineered to exact size distributions, typically 50 to 200 nanometers. These nanoparticles interact with the silicon dioxide insulation layers on chip surfaces through the same chemical-mechanical dual mechanism that makes cerium oxide work on your windshield. If the same $5 powder can achieve atomic-level flatness on semiconductor wafers, it can certainly handle a scratch on your coffee table. The optical industry provides further evidence. Every precision optical element, from Hubble's primary mirror to your optometrist's examination lenses to military sniper scopes, passes through a cerium oxide polishing stage during manufacturing. The final polish with cerium oxide produces what opticians call a super-polished surface, one with surface roughness of less than 1 nanometer and no visible scratches under any magnification. When you use cerium oxide on your home glass, you are using the same material in the same way as the professionals who polished Hubble's mirror. The difference is that they used $100,000 polishing machines and precisely controlled slurry concentrations, while you are using your hand and a felt pad. But the chemistry is identical. The cerium oxide particles do not know they are being applied by hand. They interact with the glass surface according to their chemistry, regardless of the application method. The depth limitation is important to understand. Cerium oxide effectively removes scratches to a depth of approximately 50 microns. For reference, a human hair is approximately 70 microns in diameter. Any scratch shallow enough that your fingernail does not catch in it is almost certainly less than 50 microns deep and is removable with cerium oxide. Deeper scratches, the kind you can feel as a distinct groove with your fingertip, may be partially improved but cannot be completely eliminated without removing an unreasonable amount of surface material. For automotive windshields specifically, the most common scratches are wiper wear marks, which are fine arcs in the glass caused by sand particles trapped under the wiper blade. These marks are typically 2 to 10 microns deep, well within the effective range of cerium oxide. A 30-minute session with cerium oxide paste and a felt polishing attachment on a variable speed drill can restore a windshield from heavily scored to optically clear. The before and after difference is dramatic and well documented in automotive detailing literature. Phone screen protectors, which are typically tempered glass with a hardness of 6 to 7 on the Mohs scale, respond excellently to cerium oxide treatment. The fine scratches that accumulate from daily use in pockets with keys and coins are easily removed. Note that this applies to screen protectors, not the underlying OLED display. Never apply polishing compound directly to a phone screen without a screen protector. Watch crystals, both mineral glass and synthetic sapphire, can be polished with cerium oxide. For mineral glass crystals, rated at 7 on the Mohs scale, cerium oxide works perfectly. For sapphire crystals, rated at 9, cerium oxide alone is too soft. Sapphire requires diamond paste for scratch removal. But mineral glass watch crystals that look hopelessly scratched can be restored to like-new condition in under 10 minutes with cerium oxide. Aquarium glass represents another common application. Fish tanks accumulate scratches from algae scrapers, gravel contact, and decoration placement over years of use. These scratches reduce optical clarity and detract from the viewing experience, draining the tank.